Majori here from the Punk Priestess, and welcome to season 2 of the weekly tarot readings. I'm really excited to be back. I took a little break from doing weekly readings for a couple months. I think the last weekly reading I did was in October, so I'm really happy to be back. I'm in a new apartment, so you'll be seeing a lot of the brick wall. But yeah, I'm really excited to read tarot again for everyone. I have a new deck that I'm going to be using today. I'm really excited about. This is Black and the Moon's new astrology deck. So it has pretty much like everything, like the zodiac signs, all of the comets, different moons, a lot of like Greek mythology that I never knew of. So it's really fun actually kind of diving into a more advanced astrology, cosmo-driven tarot deck. Hello everyone. So, yeah, hi Natalie. I'm really excited that it's Aquarius season. We have a Leo full moon on Thursday, so that's going to be really cool. And today I actually launched my new spell candle collection. So it's called Revolution, and that's the perfect theme for Aquarius. It's all about rebellion, it's all about revolution, doing something different. And right now we have a new president, a lot of change is happening, and we can kind of be in control of it. I think for so long we felt collectively so out of control with what was happening around us and with politics, with our environment, now with this pandemic. I feel a lot of us, especially like all of last year, was like a roller coaster. We felt very out of control, and it's been unsettling. It's been an unsettling energy, but definitely the inspiration behind Revolution is that we actually get to try to take back some control in our lives and really find a way to heal from the trauma that was 2020. And I know that hardship is not over. I know there's still a lot of obstacles happening in our daily lives and then just universally with everyone. But if we can all unite together and for the betterment of each other, for the betterment of humanity, and to really try to make some change, not only for our own lives, but for the future, I think that would be very beneficial and a good way to move forward. So on my website, and I've been promoting it in my stories, I have some of the candles that are available, and I'm going to be pouring the candles on Thursday during the full moon. So I do like this whole full moon ritual thing. I have like all this water, moon water out, crystals, and I make sure the intention of Revolution, of Aquarius, of the Leo full moon is enchanted in the candle. So when you light it, you can feel that energy. Also, I have some really cool crystal dishes. I have this dish here. I have like candy in it. I've been like snacking on like little gummy worms and like little Sour Patch Kids, but I have this available in the shop. I'm really like, I don't want to part with it, but I think it would be awesome on someone's altar, or if you're just watching Netflix and you want like some candy, having some snacks. This is available. I have a lot of different like crystal holders, like smudge bowls. Like I use this for my Palo Santo. So I have one more of these Wedgwood little plates in the shop. I have a couple more Florida water from last batch. I had that available. I'm not going to be doing Florida water for a couple more months. So that's going to be an offering like later in the spring. But yeah, and also I'm super excited to be reading tarot again. So I'm already starting to get booked for some tarot readings. So I have tarot readings, and I'm also offering something new, which is pendulum readings. So we're going to be connecting with your spirit guides, your loved ones who have passed over, and combining that with tarot. And it's super fun. That's how I also read tarot, is I get out my spirit board, my pendulum, and I start doing a spread and kind of getting my ancestors involved and seeing what they have to say. And it's really fun. I think that's kind of the next elevation of tarot, is kind of connecting to the other side and having them be a participant in the spread. So that's an offering that's available right now. That's really cool. And I have some other awesome things coming, but I can't announce it yet. So just stay in the know. I'll let you guys be aware of it soon, but it's going to be really cool. Yeah, that's kind of it. That's kind of like some house cleaning stuff going on. How's everyone been? How's everyone's 2021? Oh my god, like saying that for the first time out loud, like 2021 is weird. Going. And also too, I saw like I had a little questionnaire. If there was some tarot questions you wanted answered, so that's something new that I'm going to start. So before the weekly reading, if there's a tarot question that you want, I'll pull a card for you and get some advice on that. But it's not going to be during the reading because I can't concentrate on the comments and read at the same time. So please, if you do have a question next week, you know, please let me know and I'll answer your questions. And this is just Palo Santo that I'm using to cleanse the decks, and I'll let you know what decks I'm going to be using. But yeah, so I moved into a new apartment a couple weeks ago. It's just been so good, so refreshing. It's so cute. I'm going to show what my apartment looks like and some of my like little crystal altars soon. But I'm still decorating, and it's just super exciting. I guess one good thing that came of 2020 was that I was able to kind of set myself up to get my own place in New York City, which is a very, it's an accomplishment, definitely, for sure, because the city is, it's not easy to live in New York, and it's been kind of chaotic energy all around. Let's see. 2021 is not that much different from 2020. I mean, I feel like, you know, it's only been 24 days into the new year. A lot has changed. It's kind of like we have to go through the darkness in order to get to the other side. We got to make it through. And I think after 4 years of oppression, of injustice, it's not over. Like, we're facing our shadow right now. The U.S. is facing a shadow. And what's the better way to do this work than a Scorpio, also known as Biden? Biden's a Scorpio, and he has a Taurus moon. He's a Sagittarius rising. Kamala, she is a Libra with an Aries moon. So if there's two types of people who can get these done with a smile on their face, it's Biden and Harris. So, I mean, don't underestimate the power of Scorpios. Because we've had a crazy Gemini with a Sagittarius moon in office for 4 years, and that combination is a shit show in itself. It's like trash fire. So now we're going into some stable, watery energy, and Scorpios love to do that work, that investigative work of like cleaning up a mess. Scorpio rules like being a detective, and Biden's kind of like our political detective because he has to get down to the bottom of how to heal this country, how to make lasting change from the car wreck that we've been subjected to. So, you know, it's going to be totally a different energy. It's already, you know, starting. We have Taurus and Mars right now, not the best placement. So there's been a lot of friction going on with astrology, conjunctions, and we also have Uranus and Taurus still for the next couple of years. I can't shuffle this deck for some reason. So I have a new feature on my website. I have some blog posts, as I love writing. So I blog post about tarot, blog post about astrology, crystals, and I have a couple posts on Uranus and Taurus. So if you're really interested in like why this whole pandemic started, and why we're in the position we are in now, a lot of this stuff I predicted when the transit happened in 2018, and it's come to fruition. And it's kind of scared me how I predicted a lot of the stuff that was happening with like working from home, education being at home, and just a lot of like things that this transit has brought to light in our lives. So Uranus is very unpredictable energy. We can't pinpoint how it's going to move. And that's what keeps us on our toes. But that's also, Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. And we're in the age of Aquarius right now. So there's going to be a lot of unpredictability. Like, things are not going to be going back to the way they were, because we were so Capricorn dominated, which was very conformist, very patriarchal, and we're shifting away from that, which I think is good. Thank you, everyone. Yes, I'm like really happy that I'm able to live by myself, and it's been a long time coming for sure. But yeah, let's see a little bit more comments. I'm moving this week and it's very unsettling. Yeah, just be careful with moving, because Mercury is going into retrograde soon. I think it's going to retrograde in like a couple days. So with like anything, you know, making sure like your reservations are booked for your moving van, making sure that your stuff is packed, like nothing is like lost, or if you are hiring a moving company, make sure that they don't break anything. Like, just really make sure everything's like together, lease is signed, because when Mercury goes into retrograde, it can be unpredictable again, but it causes a lot of friction in our day-to-day lives. A lot of the other planets are more like, over time we kind of see the effects of their energy, but with Mercury, it's like, okay. And it's going to be in Aquarius, so it's going to be like unpredictable shit. It's going to be like, what? Like, I never saw this happening or coming. So it's going to be a little crazy, but it'll be fine. Just make sure that you have like everything kind of together and prepared before you really start making that transition. Beware of signing contracts during Mercury retrograde. Let's see. Yes, truth. Yeah, a lot of truth seeking is going to be happening too. Like, secrets are going to be revealed. And that's like also the power of Scorpio energy with Biden, going underneath the surface of the shadow, cleaning it up, secrets becoming revealed, especially in Pisces season. We'll see what happens then. Also imprisonment with Pisces season, so maybe Trump might get impeached and go to jail during Pisces season. That would be great. So, but anyways, well, I'm going to start the spread. So I wanted to do an Aquarius season spread because Aquarius season started a couple days ago. We have a stellium happening in Aquarius. We have Venus, we have Mercury, we have Saturn, we have the Sun in Aquarius, and then we also have Jupiter in Aquarius. So if you're born like, well, maybe Venus is coming later, but in a couple days, but I think it was like, if you're born on January 30th, you're going to have like 5 planets in Aquarius. So it's going to be like, this child is going to be such an Aquarius child. But it's a big Aquarius moment right now that's happening in our lives, which I feel like a lot of us are like, okay, you know, let's do things differently. How can we just get away from the past and create a new life and future for ourselves? It's kind of what's happening right now. So, and I think that's good. It's kind of like refreshing. Like, we really did start 2021 in kind of in a refreshing way. New candidacy, hope, and also just kind of like having like a vision. Like, I felt like a lot of us lost our vision for our lives, and kind of like reclaiming that, I think, is very important. And the deck I'm using Spoilia Tarot. I'm using Oracle of Oddities, edition 1, 2, and 3. You can purchase this on Everyday Magic. I think they're the only one that carries this deck. Unfortunately, Spoilia Tarot is no longer in print. It's sold out. I have Oracle Oddities. I have Postcards from Liminal Space. This deck is unfortunately sold out. I have Way Home Tarot. You can also buy this in Everyday Magic. And then I have Morgan's Tarot, still available. And then this Constellation deck from Black and the Moon, the same creators of Oracle of Oddities. So this one's still available too. And if you, I'll send like a link at the end of like resources of where I got my decks if you're interested in purchasing these for yourself. And like always ask me, always like message me and DM me if there's like something that you like that I use, and I'll let you know like where I got like my crystals or you know, my Palo Santo. Aquarius season. And you know, the energy, like I get it. It's been rough. I'm not saying this new transition in 2021 has been easy. It's been very irritating. It's been an irritant. It's kind of like you have an itch that won't like go away. And you're like, I need to go buy some antifungal cream because I can't stop this itch from itching. That's kind of like what 2021 energy kind of feels like. But I feel, you know, like portals are closing around us. Like soon we got to like clean up the chaos and we'll have, you know, more smooth sailing, more clarity. But right now it's just kind of been difficult because we're still trying to wrap up the mess that we've been in. We're still trying to heal from trauma. Okay. They make ointment for that. Do they make ointment for the irritants of 2020? Okay, so I'm going to, is it a good month to have a baby? I mean, I love Aquarius energy. I think it's fun. I think if you have, you know, a baby in Aquarius, especially now with like all the planets, your child's going to be incredibly unique and like of its own like person, which I think is like kind of cool. Like, yeah, Aquarius, they are the aliens of the zodiac for sure. But it's good energy. So first card, and if anyone who wants to do my tarot spreads, I have my own ebook called Punk Rock Tarot Spreads. It has 70 spreads in it. It's available for purchase, and anytime you want to do a tarot spread, it has you covered. But I'm going to be using the Aquarius spread that I created in this ebook for this reading. All right, so let's get together, breathe, get some water nearby. If you have like some crystals you want to hold or you want to take notes, bring your pet along so they can watch. I recently had a fungal skin condition that's going away. Yeah, I mean, you know, the body and the mind, it's all connected. It's one. That's why the chakra system is so important to keep it healthy and balanced, because, you know, if you're mentally, you know, emotionally not feeling very well, like it's going to show up on your physical body. But anyways, so let's get into the first card. Aquarius season. Happy birthday to all the Aquarius out there. Okay, so where is freedom and rebellion calling us? Not surprised. Okay, so I'm pulling the 5 of Swords here. And this energy, like 5 energy, is like conflict. It's not really the best type of situation. Like 5s are like the shitty cards in tarot personally. It just shows like there's a lot of struggle still left. And with Swords energy, that's communication, that's air energy. It's, you know, Aquarius. It's just, you know, what's kind of around us, like the words that we're saying, the words that we're listening to, word vomit, people, you know, reflecting a lot of trauma onto you. It's just, we're recovering. We're recovering from the words that have been said. We're recovering from a lot of hatred and a lot of misunderstandings, miscommunication. Also, Mercury is going into retrograde soon, and that rules communication. So things are going to get a little fuzzy in the next coming weeks, next coming days. And the shadow period has already started, so we're kind of already feeling those effects of maybe verbal attacks, if there's like fighting, confrontation, and there is like a lot of confrontation still happening. And, you know, we have been, for a year, but, you know, for a while now, we have just been pierced by so many swords. And I feel a lot of us are like, I don't know how much I can take anymore. How much, verbal abuse, if it's verbal abuse from people in your life, or even if it's self-sabotage, maybe you're your own worst enemy and you're like bringing yourself down by the words that you say to yourself. And, where can freedom and rebellion kind of help us with this? It's like, instead of like piercing each other with words, instead of spreading hatred, which has become the normalcy with, the Trump presidency, like we were so used to being victims to verbal hatred. And now with him being blocked on Twitter, and now, they're having like the repercussions of speaking negatively. But we need to recover and find freedom and rebellion in doing the exact opposite. We need to start speaking words of love to each other, speaking words of compassion and hope. One moment, I forgot I had something cooking in the oven. That is a good indication of Mercury retrograde energy. Forgetting that you're baking something, and you're like, anyways, back to what I was saying. It's just like we need to, instead of speaking words of violence and acting with criticism and judgment and harshness, we need to find a way to combat that type of energy and have a different response, and of compassion, of empathy. And I'm pulling Live a Fantasy. Let me see if this will work. My light is kind of like really bright. But I'll take a picture of the cards. But Live a Fantasy is what we're pulling here. And we can't live a fantasy. We can't live our best lives if we're speaking negativity to each other. If we're spreading negativity, we're not going to be able to live our fantasy. We're going to crush our own dreams if we talk poorly to ourselves. We're going to not be able to uplift each other if we talk poorly about the situation or the president or whatever it is. Like, we have to, untrain what we're used to as a society as a whole. And that's where we can find freedom to encourage each other to live our best lives and to be our best selves, and create a safe space for that type of energy. Because for so long, people felt like they couldn't express themselves and be who they are, because they'll be shamed for it. And that's what dismantling this Capricorn energy, dismantling the patriarchy, will be able to allow us to really express our true selves and to live a fantasy. But it's not going to come easy. Okay, so number 2, how can we cultivate more freedom in our lives? So we have Ace of Cups energy. And this is good. Like, this card has kind of been circulating a little bit in 2020. I was pulling this during some weekly readings, but it was mostly reversed. But it's up right now. So this is beautiful. Ace energy is a fresh start. It's a seed that has been planted that has yet to sprout. And we can cultivate this freedom by love. And like in the 60s and the 70s, there was all these songs about the age of Aquarius, and it was very like sunshiny and hippie and like, peace, love, and like that energy is very Aquarius. But before the energy can really rise, we need to dismantle the old energy. And that's what we're in the process of doing. But the first way we can really dismantle this energy that has been stagnant and sticking around is to use our swords against it, and our swords being our mouths. Instead of speaking negativity, speak positivity into the future. Like, yes, 2020 was a shit show, but this year is going to be better. And, there's going to be more love. There's going to be more empathy and compassion if we commit to it. Love can be the revolution that we need. Compassion can be the revolution that we need. Because you have to fight dark with light. You can't fight the dark with darkness. And just kind of like taking the higher ground. And sometimes the higher ground is just ignoring, what has been the precedent for so long that's no longer appropriate for the energy that we're shifting into. But I love Ace of Cups energy. It's just very beautiful, and it just shows that we're healing right now as a society. We're just in the beginning stages. We just got a new president in office officially. Like, the healing has just begun, but before we can heal, we have to believe, and we have to say to each other, to one another, things are going to get better. We can't be speaking negativity into the universe, because then we'll never be able to live our best life. Okay, and here we go. I'm pulling a clarifier. I'm pulling opposition here. And this is true. It's like we have to do the exact opposite of what has been the norm for the past 4 years. We have to do the exact opposite. We have to find the cure in the opposition. We have to find unity within the opposition that we're faced with. Okay, so what or who in our lives is restricting our freedom? What or who? Okay, so I'm pulling the first astrology card here. I'm pulling Libra, reversed. So in Spoilia Tarot, the astrology cards and the 4 elements are included. So Libra reversed. This is another air sign that is the sister of Aquarius. But right now it's reversed. It's just kind of like the scales of justice have turned. And we need to kind of get that, balance back into the world, into this country. Like, there's been a divide, clearly, between, both political parties and, like, beliefs, and we kind of need to get our balance back, where we're all kind of, like, collectively on the same page with, what is right, what is wrong, and just in general, like, we need to find a way to be unified again. And Libra also rules enemies, as well as committed partnerships. So, who is our enemy? Is our enemy part of ourselves, or is it, someone else? And how can we find unity in the opposition in order to create balance into our lives? So, kind of like start looking around you. How are the scales in your life? Do you feel like some scales in your life are, turned? Like, do you feel like there's not equality in certain aspects of in your life? How can you fight for that? How can you do things differently in your life? And how can you, instead of thinking negative about a situation, think positive and be hopeful that things will change? Because it's so easy to get stuck in low vibration thinking. It's so easy to be like, like, things are never going to be good. They're always going to be horrible. They're not going to change for me. It's always been this way. And that's just way of saying excuses. That's just lower vibration 5 of Swords energy. But we have to get out of that mode of thinking so that we can live our best lives and believe in a better future. We have to remember the love in our lives. We have to remember like the feeling of hope. And I think we all, hopefully on Wednesday, the majority of us felt hopeful on Wednesday. And, we just need to have that energy continue and translate to the rest of, be an example, not only to our own inner circle, but be an example to the rest of the world that, hope and light can persevere over darkness. And yes, like, the scales right now are imbalanced. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, but we'll get back on our feet. But we first have to, recognize within ourselves, how can we do better? Okay. How can people help us embrace our weird? So how can people around us embrace our weird? All right, so we're pulling Strength here, Major Arcana card, and we're having, this is the Leo card, like, we're having the next full moon in Leo on Thursday. So just kind of think to yourself, like, what is it in my life that has gone for full circle from the past couple weeks? Like, what chapters am I closing? What things are being revealed to me? And how can you build your emotional strength? Because maybe you're arsenal is depleted. Maybe you feel like, I have nothing else to give. I'm so wiped out from the chaos and, everything that happened in 2020. Like, you feel like you can't move forward, you don't have the energy. But it's like up to you. You don't have to physically act on anything. Like, we have Taurus and we have Mars in Taurus right now. It's not a time to physically act. It's a time for us to remember our peace. It's a time for us to work hard to, kind of achieve something behind the scenes. We don't really have to do anything right now. Like, the world, the universe is not asking us to perform. And I think that's refreshing. We don't have to perform right now. Just do your best to build your emotional strength back, because by the time you get to Pisces, if you don't really kind of build yourself up, the emotions are going to crush you. Because Pisces is about undoing. It's about imprisonment with our own mind a lot of the times. And we have to find a way of escapism that is positive. So this energy, the full moon, is going to be really preparing us to see, like, are we, what have we learned, and how can we rely on our emotional strength to help us push through? Like, we can't forget who we are. We can't forget our story. And there is a lot going on cosmically. There's a lot going on in our day-to-day lives with whatever we have happening. But we can't forget our strength. And we can't forget, like, our inner lion. We have to foster that energy. So it's good. I mean, it's going to take some time, but I think we're a lot stronger than what we think we are. So a lot of times we forget our own strength because we are just so conditioned and used to trauma that we're like, oh my gosh, like, who am I anymore? Like, what is the truth? What is positivity? Like, a lot of us maybe have lost touch with that because we've been so into this mode of, like, trauma responses. And the strength reverse is just showing us, like, we really need to undo that. We need to find emotional security within ourselves because we do have what it takes to move forward. And that's how we can embrace our weird. It's just like, don't let the world tell you can't heal and, that it's always going to be like this and, everything's negative. Like, we have to be like, just who cares about the rules? Who cares about what people say? Who cares about the news and, like, the predictions of all these things that are negative? Like, the news thrives on negativity because negativity is a trauma response. Negativity, hits us differently. And we have to remember that there's so much positivity out there that doesn't get the time of day. And maybe it's just our own responsibility to just be in charge of that energy. And to be like, what? I'm going to spread positivity instead of negativity. Instead of looking at the COVID statistics on the news, I'm going to actually look at statistics of, people who have been helping do great things during the pandemic, like with charities or donations, or, find a way to transmute that energy. And, continue to try to live the best life that you can. Okay, so what is ready to be invented or reinvented in our lives? Okay, and here we go. I mean, sometimes tarot can be very obvious, but I'm pulling the moon here. So with the moon, it's just another indication. Like, we have, like, the message of this Leo full moon coming up is to strengthen our emotional awareness to ourselves and how we're responding to the world around us and the people around us. It's time to really have, like, a more mature emotional response to the day-to-day life and to just the situation that's happening, the multiple situations that are happening in our lives. It's just a time to really strengthen our psychic abilities, our intuitive abilities, and to really get reacquainted with our inner mind and our inner emotions. Like, we can't escape the way that we feel about certain things or certain people or even about ourselves. And Thursday might be the day where you just take some time to really get acquainted with the real person that you are, and kind of dismantle, like, the shadow that you've been hiding behind. Because I feel like a lot of us, like, we go throughout our day-to-day lives and we kind of put our emotions on hold. because we have to focus on the now. And it's just like, let's have a real conversation with ourselves. Let's have a real conversation with our soul and our emotions, and question, like, who am I? How, I don't know, talk to yourself out loud, actually, too. Because that's maybe a way you can embrace your weird, is talking to yourself out loud. Because that's actually a sign of intelligence. So, just like talking to yourself and just saying, like, okay, how have I been processing this? Like, what's triggering me right now? How can I be better, at responding to this emotionally? Is this worth my time and energy to respond to emotionally? How am I, just even asking yourself the question, like, how am I feeling today? And having, a real response to it. Because we get asked throughout the day, when you're at work or just in general, like, oh, how are you? And a lot of the times we always say, oh, I'm good, or I'm fine, or I'm tired. We have like the same like carbonated responses. And, be real with yourself. Ask yourself that question, like, how am I today? Like, and if you can, like, honestly say to yourself, it's been shitty, I don't like this, blah, 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 like, that's good. Be real with yourself. And that's what Aquarius season is asking you to be. And that's how you can show up for other people, is if you be real with yourself and stop pretending that things are okay. Stop pretending, that this is what you want or whatever it is in your life. Like, be truthful. Because when you start opening up your eyes and being truthful and honest to yourself and your feelings and questioning things around you, that is when you'll have like a revelation in your life. And you'll be getting closer to living the fantasy because you confronted the truth in your life. So that's just kind of what, the full moon's coming through here. It's just like, we have some emotional work to do. We've been so traumatized, we've been so distracted by the news or by all these other like current events in our lives, and even in our own personal lives. We haven't really had a time to like talk to ourselves and like get reacquainted with who we are and like how are we doing. So just like have an honest conversation with yourself. Like take, even if it's like 5 minutes to like light a candle and just sit and just like contemplate. You don't even have to say it out loud, even just writing it down, like, about your feelings, express yourself. That's the only way you can really get through to who you are. Okay, so what hopes and wishes are making themselves known to us right now? Okay, so I'm pulling 10 of Swords here, upright, and then I'm pulling 9 of Wands reversed here. So an ending is happening in our lives, but we're not there yet. It's like there's some things in our lives that are pending. Like the portal hasn't closed yet. It could be like you're trying to close up a chapter with like a job or a project, or if you're moving, or there's like some chapters in your life that you want to close, and there's some maybe unfinished business from 2020 that you want closed. And I think that's a huge irritant that's happening right now with the Mars in Taurus, because Mars doesn't like being in Taurus. It's very slow energy, so it's taking a lot of the time for these things to die in our lives. And it's very irritating and frustrating because for the past 6 months since Aries has been in Mars, and Mars is Aries planet. So Mars loves being in Aries. And we were really used to things like happening quickly for us. Like if we wanted this to happen, blah, 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 like it happened really quickly. Whereas now the energy is very slow sometimes, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like, will this ever end? Will I ever get the answer? Will I ever figure out this? And will I ever get clarity? So a lot of like the pending energy that's happening is frustrating, but there's still some more work and some more realizations we have to have in order for things to be finalized. So if you're feeling agitated, if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling like you're trudging through the unknown and you're just like, when is things going to get easier? When is this cloud going to go away above me? Like, it'll come. It's just right now, it's hard. It's very thick, hard energy, but it'll get better in the next coming weeks. But it's just, everyone is kind of collectively feeling this energy of like, we want to finish up something, we want clarity, we want to keep moving, but there's like these little like obstacles that are kind of preventing us from like really moving on. But it's minor energy. It's not like, your world is like on fire. It's just like little inconveniences that are just kind of preventing us to have peace right now. Tax season is coming up. I think a lot of us, that's also with like Scorpio energy is like taxes. Taurus and Scorpio are opposite signs. So, that's even been like an issue. Like a lot of us have probably been used to doing our taxes by now, and we can't even get our tax forms. So it's like a lot of like slow money stuff happening too with this energy, that can be frustrating and irritating, especially with like the stimulus check thing. That was a shit show the last time, so we'll see how this new stimulus check comes out. But it's just going to be, especially they do it during Mercury retrograde, like who the fuck knows with electronics and stuff like that. It might be even a bigger shit show. So I don't have a lot of hope that it's going to go easy this time around either. But yeah, just know that you're not alone. But like the reason why things are taking a while to finish up and chapters, are taking a while to close is because there's still some lesson in truth that hasn't been revealed or realized in your life, which is why the portal is still open. It's like almost closed. It's just like, it's about to close, but there's just still that last little life lesson, the universe wants us to get. Also we have Saturn in Aquarius right now, so I feel like a lot of unpredictable energy that's kind of been happening because Saturn is like friction, karmic, so it's heavy, it's a lot, but you're not alone in your frustrations. It's just collectively we're all a little bit annoyed. I'm gonna pull some clarifiers. Okay, so we have break the cycle here with the cells, and I know we all want to break cycles in our lives. We all want to close chapters and close portals. Like, we'll get there. Like, the universe hasn't forgotten. Like, the universe, your guides, they know what you want. They know that you're irritated. They know, like, you want to move on from, like, certain things in your life. Like, they know the story. Believe me, the universe hasn't forgotten. And sometimes it feels like it has. Sometimes it's like, oh, like, did the universe forget that... I wanted this to happen. I wanted this to work out. Like, the universe hasn't. It's just, like, hasn't been the right time. But, we also have to do the work. We can't just rely on the universe to solve all of our problems. We have to physically get involved ourselves, get our hands and knees dirty to wrap some shit up. And maybe it's, like, difficult things we don't want to do, but we know we have to do it and face our fears. So maybe, you yourself are the one that's preventing your chapter from being closed. Don't get in your own way. But if you don't know what's in your way, your answer might be revealed to you on Thursday during the full moon. You might get that awakening of like, oh, this is why, I'm having a struggle, or maybe this is what I can do to make some change and to close this chapter, break this cycle in my life. And then, we're pulling here. This is from Morgan's Tarot, so it's very hippy-dippy. We're pulling grass here, Maybe you just need to smoke a joint. I don't know. Maybe you just need to chill out, and instead of worrying about something, just don't even put the time and energy towards worrying about it. Just have the realization that, we're in Taurus, like, type energy that is in opposition with the Aquarius energy, like, with what we really want. Just, sometimes it's like, I can't even do anything. It's like, fuck it. I'm just like not even going to be an active participant in this energy because it's not even worth my time. Like, sometimes we have to have that emotional maturity of just like not even reacting and just being like, you know what, it'll happen when it happens, like kind of letting go. And that can be hard, especially for a while. We've had a lot of Capricorn energy where we felt like we really had to have a grip on things. And the Aquarius energy is like, just let it go. Let's focus on ourselves. Let's focus on the betterment of society. Like, is this getting in the way of our peace of mind? And, like, Rome wasn't built in a day, but each day they were laying bricks. And that's kind of how you have to think about things in life. It's just like, maybe everything you wanted to get done accomplished in January, you had these like revolutions and stuff, resolutions it's okay if it hasn't come to fruition. Just relax, smoke some grass, think like a Taurus, just pasturing in the farm, chewing on some grass and living its best life without a care in the world. And that's kind of sometimes how we have to have an opposite reaction to the chaos around us, is just pretending like we're unaffected. And sometimes the universe, it's kind of like if you pretend like the bully doesn't exist, or you pretend like whoever's picking on you it doesn't affect you, you don't have a reaction, they'll eventually get bored and go away. That's kind of like how this energy is. It's just like, don't have dramatic responses to the crazy energy that's happening right now with the universe, especially when Mercury goes retrograde. Like, don't give it the time of day. Like, focus on your path, focus on your peace, and things will start, closing and falling together. You don't have to put so much energy into it, because that's what Aries energy is. It's not what Taurus energy is. Aries energy, it's like we need to get involved. Taurus is like, let's not get involved and see what happens. Miraculously, things might work out. Okay, and I'm gonna pull just like one of these little cosmic cards. Let me get the guidebook. Okay, so the deck is called Comptimentium. I don't know how to say this word, of Constellations by Black and the Moon, but this is like what the deck is called. But I'm gonna pull one. Yeah, it's 88 cards, 88 constellations, and 2 star clusters. So it's a small but mighty deck. Okay. Let me see if I can find this. But they're really cool because like all of these, they're like different colors of, I don't know if you can see, but they're all like different constellation colors. So they're really cool. Let's see if I can find this card to see what the meaning is. Okay, so Perseus. So this card, it means glory. So Perseus means glory. And, right now we might not feel like we're living our fantasy. We might not feel like very glorified right now in our day-to-day lives, but that's okay. Like, we got to remember that we are a god, a goddess. We have to remember that we do have so much power, and that's part of the glory. Like, we don't have to wait for people to glorify us or for people to give us compliments or be written up in the New York Times in order to feel successful. We have to remember, we do have control of the glory in our lives. Like, we do have glory, and we all are gods and goddesses. But we have to overcome our own issues in our lives. We have to overcome our own hurdles in order to be reminded of our glory. But we have it, and that's what the full moon wants us to do. It's like, believe in yourself, strengthen your belief in yourself, and then you'll see the glory around you. All right, so I think that's a good way to end for that weekly reading. Yes, let me see really quickly. Spread positivity in 2021. Yes, we have to do it. I was making these like little quiche things, and I made spaghetti for dinner, but I overcooked the noodles. Today's been like a bad cooking day for me. So I'm like, I just need to go back to salads where it's like easier. Like, I'm pretty good at making salads. But yeah, so I do have time for a question that was asked during the tarot response. If I can pull it up, let's see. Okay, so Cassia, my dog passed away. My cat passed away last night. Did he know how much he was loved? And I was there at the end. So let's see, like, did your pet know that you were loved, that he was loved, and that you were there at the end of his life? Just kind of getting some insight on a past animal. And, from what I have always known to be true, and like, I myself have lost multiple pets in my life. They become like your spirit guides and like your guardian angels. Like my dog Max, I got my palm read a couple years ago by a renowned palm reader in Chicago, and I actually have a marking on my palm for my dog Max, who passed away, and I also have a marking for a new pet, and I do want to get a pet eventually very soon. So it's just kind of like our guardian angels are always with us, and our pets who go on the other side, they become our guardian angels, they become our companions in this life. So they never have left you. But that's just, a way I think about, our loved ones, and especially our pets. Our pets are always around us, on our side, in our waking life. Okay, so I'm pulling Ace of Wands here. This is, again, Ace energy. It's fresh, it's new. Light has been sparked. And when I see this card in this type of position, it just shows to me that the pet soul has, its spirit is still there. Its soul has now found a new life in the other realm. And it's your pet, your cat, having 9 lives. It's, its 10th life, its new life, could be, by your side as your spirit guide. It transitioned over from being a physical pet to being a spiritual pet. So to me, Ace of Wands energy is very positive. I love Ace of Wands energy. It's creative, it's expressive, it's action-oriented, and your pet is now kind of really excited to live its new life in this internal realm of the spirit world. So I think it was really good. And, also Ace of Wands energy is very positive. Like your pet definitely knew you were there on its side as it left this world, but also it knew it was never going to leave you. This is just the beginning of your pet's new life as your guardian angel. So I think that's really cool. And I'm gonna pull just another card using Oracle of Oddities. And we're pulling reward here. And I think this is really cool. So, your reward in this life, and also your pet, it feels rewarded by now being with you for eternity because it gets to be your guardian angel. And that's kind of a reward that you get to have too for being such a loving owner, as you get to have, your reward is your animal being with you forever in spirit. So, but what I do sometimes when I feel alone, or I feel like I need emotional support, I'll call out for my dog, or I'll like intuitively or like mentally be like, oh, have my dog like come in spirit, and I can actually, I kid you not, I can feel the shift in the bed. Like if I'm like laying down on my bed and I like call upon my dog, I can feel the weight of my bed shift because my dog used to always lay on my bed. So your spirit guides are always around you. And also when I walk down the street and there's like dogs nearby, especially golden retrievers, they always like come to me and are like super expressive towards me. And because they can see my dog, they can see my spirit, we can see him in spirit, even though I can't see him, he's still alongside me. So every time you feel alone or you want the presence of your cat, just call out for that presence and you'll feel a shift, in the energy around you, or you can even feel them like come across your leg. Like there's been so many accounts of past pets coming into our physical lives, like through spirit, like either hearing them like meow or bark or, little things like smelling them or something, they will come back to you. And there's been so many accounts of this. So definitely like your spirit, your pet has transmuted to the other side in spirit, and it's now your spirit animal. And it's really happy actually that it gets to be with you still. So I think, it's been a very, it's good. It's a reward for both of you to continue on with life together. It's in a different way. But yeah, that was my jab. I hope that was helpful. Thank you. When I got out of the car last night after it happened, there was a golden retriever that came straight up to me. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, definitely, like, you know, animals can, like, they have like other senses that we just as humans don't have the capabilities to. Like cats can see spirit. You know, dogs, they say that, you know, they can see, you know, spirit too. I don't know if it's like in the same way, but cats definitely can see spirit. And it's just, you know, we don't have that access fully, but we're all intuitive. So I definitely recommend, if you're interested more in reincarnation, if you're interested more in what happens after, you know, death, after people leave this earth, or, you know, pets or whatever, there's a show on Netflix called Surviving Death. It's a 5-episode series, and it's so good. Like, each episode is different about like past lives, about mediumship, you know, signs from your loved ones. Like, I definitely recommend, if you're interested in like past life and past life experiences and things like that, to tune in and watch the show. It's called Surviving Death on Netflix. Highly recommend. But, you know, also too, when I use my spirit board, because I'm offering pendulum readings as well of tarot, I'm gonna be combining them. I like, my dog comes through to me through the pendulum. So we have been able to communicate very easily on this realm. That's how strong my past pet's spirit is. So, you know, call into your pet. Don't be afraid to embrace them still, even though it's in a different form. And yeah, I think that is reading. I'm real excited to, you know, be bringing them back, and I hope this offers some guidance and wisdom to everyone. And if there's any questions you have about the reading or about the decks that I use, anything, you know, DM me, message me, let me know, and feel free to check out my website. I have a blog post, I have playlists, I have like Aquarius playlist, I have every single zodiac sign playlist, and I have revolution candles. They're starting to sell, and I'm going to be pouring them on the full moon, so bring your intentions. And I have also a lot of really cool things available in my shop as well. So thank you so much. It's been so much fun. I'm glad to be back for the second round of weekly readings, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.